So let's start with AI in finance. Devan, tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So your name is?
Any, INI.
Eni, tell me.
So the first one we have is for detection of deceit.
Yes.
Big and beneficial for that. And then we have risk management.
Risk management, which is huge, yeah?
Yeah.
That you can use it so much to manage, yes?
Yeah. Compliance as well.
Yes.
Compliance. The last one we have is decision making.
Okay, so these are all things which we're going to see growing even more. So thank you very much for that, Enai. Thank you very much for that. And what we've seen as well is a lot of things with cybersecurity, which is we had a discussion that just recently about the market glitch. How many glitches are going on at the moment that we can't actually control? So things like glitch at the airport, when at one stage, I don't know if people remember, they actually had to close the airport. People were sorry because there was a market glitch with the computers. So this kind of things do affect us. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so what have we got? Runak, about the M7. Tell me what you've got. Runak, you delegated.
I think there's a few points.
Yes.
The first one would be, so the question is, will the Magnificent Seven sustain the growth?
Yes,
forever?
exactly.
So the first thing would be the markets that they're in.
Yes.
They're in high growth markets like AI, where there's still potential for a lot of expansion. We're just getting started there. The
Yes.
second thing would
Yeah.
be regulation, because they're such big companies, governments don't want them to become monopolies, so they might want to break them up eventually because they're getting very big.
Right.
The third one would be inflation, where with rising inflation, people might not be able to have the same spending power, so their sales might not be the same. And there are companies like Tesla which are operating at a very high PE. Their price doesn't make sense with their sales or their earnings. So in the short or medium term, it might sustain the growth, but in longer term, there might be more competition, more regulation, so maybe not.
Really interesting, especially the one about competition, because we've seen something just
China,
recently.
Tencent.
Yes, and there was something also about Microsoft. There was something about competition, about not.
I think there's also new, like just today,
Yes,
I think Intel is talking about new chips, so they might be a new competitor with NVIDIA also.
interesting, interesting.
So
Really
longer
good.
term-
What was the first point?
The first point was the market, so that's positive because it's a high growth market.
Yes, high growth. Okay, yes. Totally. Really good points. So really good points here. And in terms of, and inflation is also a good point. And also, did you mention the one about the chips? So some of the things which you might be bringing in,
Yeah,
if you get tariffs, which is talked about.
yeah. There's also competition with China and places
Yes.
that are still changing. So.
Lovely, thank you very much for that. Really enjoyed that. Okay, and then we spoke about crypto. Who was that doing that? Yes. So, Rupert, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, tell us.
So, I don't know, we had a talk about the future of crypto and stuff. So we thought that this year, probably around when Trump gets into office, there might be a load of people selling, which might drop the market. But then it should probably recover over the rest of that year.
Do you think it's taken in already? The rise has been priced in, you know, the sharp rise?
Yeah.
Or there's still more?
It could be. It's probably going to be a phase of like consolidation at the moment,
Right.
and then it's going to probably drop. So at least that's what a lot of people are saying online.
Yes,
But with
Yeah.
crypto, it's always speculation because
of
there's
course,
not really much.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's all based on how many people are moving in the market. It's
Yeah.
much more of a social science where it's like how do people feel about it. Another good thing though for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is that China's just legalized the ownership of owning cryptocurrencies.
Okay, so that's just recently, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was like last week I think.
Interesting,
um,
yes.
So that could lead to quite a large increase in owning of crypto assets and even probably allowing people in China to purchase goods with cryptocurrencies.
Right,
There's also rumors that Elon Musk is going to start doing a payment platform on X using cryptocurrencies, rumored either to be
Right.
Dogecoin or XRP.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of stuff going on in the crypto space at the moment. The BlackRock ETF for Bitcoin is also
I was waiting for that, which is
a massive
really
thing.
been strong.
Yeah, and then also there's been loads of companies that have started using Bitcoin as assets. So there's I think it was Google or Microsoft just sent out a letter to their shareholders saying that they wanted to, on the December 10th, have a vote on whether they
Wow.
can have part of their portfolio in crypto. So there's really quite a lot happening. Like there was also Supermicro that which purchased a load of Bitcoin, I think last week, and it basically
Yes.
saved the company massively.
Yeah.
So there's a load of good
There's
stuff.
a
going
lot going on, and there's a lot of skeptics who are coming round, because you had some bankers who used to say, no way, I'm not getting involved in this, this is totally something not for us, and they're actually coming round, which is interesting. And they call it gold for young people.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Now the other thing which you mentioned, which is BlackRock ETF, very good, and also they've just started doing, I think, also at BlackRock, they've started doing options as well. They did something else apart from just straightforward ETF. They actually started doing that, which is interesting. Now, what did he call? Trump gave a job to Elon Musk, Department of
Doge.
Government Efficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, this is incredible. I think it would have been Elon Musk who found the name, Department of Government Efficiency, to name Doge, and he always used to say on Twitter, I'm buying my kids Doge, and then he got into trouble trying to promote it. But this is kind of like incredible. I read that and I thought this is just most hilarious title.
Didn't he create the Doge, the cryptocurrency?
No, he's
Remember
always
that the
talking about buying it for
But
his
remember
kids.
the cryptocurrency
Yes.
Doge also went up when
Yes.
he got appointed. People suddenly Doge went up big time.
Yes,
You've
yes.
seen that, right?
Totally.
It's just
But getting the title of
Yeah.
Doge is kind of just,
exactly.
it just shows that his creativity has no bounds. Lovely, thank you for that, really enjoyed that. And then finally, last but not least, you're telling us about US-China. Tell us about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the US-China trade, obviously, with
Yeah.
Trump's election posing higher tariffs on China, making any imports more expensive, which would, in Trump's mind, affect the market in America, increasing productivity in America, its own in-house production, less EVs coming from China, that sort of thing. But in reality, the people who make things in America or still import things from China, which would increase the amount that's actually going to cost to make
Yes.
the production itself. And then obviously, because the production is going to increase, the amount of things from China is going to move to other sectors
Yes.
in the market in different economies than America.
Yeah. Do you think longer term it's the wrong thing for him to do? Do you think longer term or do you think he needs to protect the US economy, as he says?
He's extenuating deglobalization in his own way. He's segmenting the market a bit more, and obviously America has chips, which is the biggest use of different payment mechanisms,
Yes.
while China's new CIPS is also increasing the market,
Yeah.
and then it's really driving a wedge between what the reserve currencies in each of the countries are doing at the moment, because there's been an increase in renminbi acquisition by multiple countries at the moment, and a slow decrease of the US dollar.
Yes.
But obviously at the moment the US dollar's in its major prime comparatively to every other reserve currency in history. So
Yeah.
it's hard to tell, but I'd say that he's making a gamble that could pay off, but I wouldn't suggest increasing deglobalization is a good
Yes.
idea.
Yes, you're right. It is a gamble, and we don't know. I always think when you make US-China trade tensions stronger, then it could backfire. But as you say, we don't know. But thank you very much for that. So really enjoyed having your views and also going through the major themes for 2025, which I'm sure when I come back next year, we're going to see more of these major themes. The only one which we didn't talk about, which is something also which is huge, is also what they call responsible investing. So we see a lot of that, green investing, responsible investing, and thematic investment. Companies which invest in certain sectors and companies which are encouraged to invest in ethical. So that's also something which is very much talked about. Okay, so it's been a pleasure speaking to you. We can take any questions,
We'll take any questions
we've had
now.
great discussions which I've really enjoyed.
Any questions?
Thank you very
Hello?
much.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Ronak, you have a question?
So, like in the recent times with the election, we had so many news going around and so much noise, and you're also looking at charts. In a situation like that, when you don't know which way the world is going or like which way the companies you look at are going to, what do you rely most on? The charts, the news, and how do you make, what is the decision process?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So I tend to look more at charts, but I'm not one of those chartists who just doesn't look at anything going on, because I think if I look at, for example, Apple, and I know that they're going to announce results on that day, I'm going to say, okay, let's see, what kind of results they do as well. So I think especially now what we've seen with, as you say, all the geopolitical events and the elections and everything, I think I would start off by just looking at my charts and see, is there a pressure? Are people trying to push it higher? Or is it already priced in? Because they're expecting a Trump victory, so is it already priced in? In which case, if I'm buying it, then I'll be the last one buying it before it goes down. So I would say I would definitely start with the charts, and with the news, I would never ignore it. So I know people who are in their room and they look at their cycles and they do that, but I always think I need to see the outside as well. But the chart is definitely a very good starting point for me. Yeah. Yes, Tom.
So going back to Bitcoin, do you think that the rise of financial products are deriving from Bitcoin will increase the volatility of it and the risk of overinvesting, or the other way around, will make it a more
Yeah.
kind of efficient market? And